tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey from SWC, then OLSWA, to become a Canon Lawyer.
Right. So when I attended the college, it still wasn't accredited yet. So I received a certificate with like a 3-year certificate with concentration in philosophy and literature. And then I moved on and completed a 4-year degree at Tyndale University College, just in philosophy. And then after that, I'd had an interest in law from like high school. And I was struggling with the idea of how to balance my, I guess, aspirations of going into law while also wanting, a family and to be a present wife and mother. And if you're single, I don't think that's a big deal. But when I was graduating, I'd been dating my now husband for 4 years, and we were quite sure that we were going to get married. And so being able to have children and being open to life was really important. And so I just didn't see secular law being a good fit, but I was still really interested and intrigued. So I decided to try and find a legal-based job. And so I ended up finding a job at an accounting firm that did legal reports. So they did accounting reports for lots of different law firms. And so I worked there for a few years. And during that time, I wrote my LSAT, and I was pretty set on doing like secular law, going to law school. But I guess I couldn't take the plunge, because I knew that if I wanted to get interesting cases, if I wanted to work with the material I was interested in, I'd be working, 100 hours a week as an articling student. And then after that, you start off at the bottom and you're still working 80 to 100 hours a week to try and work your way up. And that just was not going to work with my timeline and how I wanted to spend my life. So I continued working at the accounting firm in a few different capacities and learned a lot there. And I think that was one of the best decisions I made, rather than jumping right into a graduate program, was to get some work experience and learn about the field that I was interested in. So my husband and I, we got married, and it was actually on our honeymoon that my sister reached out and was saying, like, you should think about canon law. Her husband's a canon lawyer. And so she kind of put the pieces together for me and was the one who introduced me to the concept of doing interesting cases, but also working for the church is much more family friendly and has the benefit of also like giving back and working for the church. So it was actually like from our hotel room in Greece, I was looking and getting all my transcripts and getting everything remotely. And I applied for the program, for the licentiate program at St. Paul University in Ottawa for the remote program. I applied for it like while we were still in Greece. And then I did end up starting their JCL, which is like a master's in canon law, but also a licentiate. So you have a license to practice within the church. And that was the program that I was going into. And I went in for the 4-year part-time remote program. And there's also an option to do 2 years on campus, but I chose to do the one that's remote for most of the year. And then every year in the spring, you have to be on campus for 3 weeks, just for like an intensive session. And I actually only had to do that one time, because the first time I was on maternity leave, and then I went the next time, and then the other 2 times, unfortunately, they didn't have it because of the pandemic, because everyone was online. So I only went once, which I wish I had gone more, because it was really great to connect with people. But before I applied, I did work out a contract with the Archdiocese of Toronto, with a representative there. And basically I was provided with tuition assistance and also a guaranteed job coming out. So that really, like, it was such a sweet deal. And I think that's kind of the route to go, to try and find a tribunal or an archdiocese or diocese that is looking for a canon lawyer and that might be able to sponsor at least part of your tuition. And then you also have a job coming out of it. So that was, I had so much peace knowing that, and that this was not going to be money spent that was not going to have any kind of return. And also that there would be some semblance of a job after. And I had also stated that, you know, I'd like to be able to work remotely. I'd like to be able to have the option of part-time, just because I was married and children are going to come, and I'm the woman. So that's a realistic thing, that I'm not going to be available to work full-time all the time. So, and they were fine with that. They're really family friendly, which was so great. So then I graduated with my JCL it was the spring of 2021. And then that summer I started shadowing just over Zoom calls. Like that's how they do all their meetings for judging at the Archdiocese, is video calls. And so I just started shadowing different judging sessions. And then it was in that fall that I started as a regular judge on a turnus. And so I've been working there for the last 2 years, and I really, really enjoy it. It's great. I also wanted to mention that St. Paul's University also offers graduate diplomas. And so if somebody's interested in canon law, but isn't really interested in doing like a 2-year intensive or 4-year program, it's a 5-course diploma that will give you kind of an introduction and also a really good groundwork in canon law, so that you can like step into tribunal work and work as an auditor or as a notary or in different capacities. So that's also a really good option that they have if someone's not really interested in doing a ton of school.
Okay, excellent. Wow, that is an incredible journey. So if I got my timeline right, you went, you graduated Olswa, then you went to Tyndale.
Yeah.
Right. Got married, and then you were able to discern into getting your JCL.
Yes.
Very
yeah.
good. And how did St. Paul's University treat your Olswa and your Tyndale education previously?
Oh, like it was totally fine. To enter the program, you need, I think it's 18 credits of theology studies or like equivalent experience. And so I didn't have equivalent experience, but I did have, I had the credits mostly from Olswa, just from the theology that's required in the certificate. And then a lot of the philosophies also counted as theology credits.
Okay.
And then, so I think I only used like maybe 1 or 2 courses from Tyndale, but the majority of it was from Olswa, and they had no issues with it. Like I have a regular BA according to them. And so like from Tyndale, but then all of my courses, because they were fully accepted by Tyndale, there were no issues with transferring.